So almost 5 years ago, I decided that after taking a vacation to Florida, I was gonna pack my bags, drive from Illinois down here, and make a move. And 1 month later, I did. Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you are new here, my name's Laura. I'm very excited that you clicked on this video today. As you can tell by the title, it is all about my move to Florida. It has been almost 5 years, which is crazy. I'm originally from Illinois, but it was probably one of the craziest things I've ever done, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. And I hope that if you are deciding and thinking about making a move anywhere in the world, that this video could be helpful to you and maybe give you the encouragement that you need to just take the leap of faith and move yourself. Let's get into this video. It's just gonna be a little bit more of a story time, so I hope you guys are cool with that. If you like videos like this, please give it a thumbs up. It just lets me know the type of content that you guys are into, and I will be sure to make more of it. So wow, 5 years ago, I was a completely different person. I had just graduated college, and one of my very best friends actually had just moved down here to Estero, Florida. Some of my high school very best friends decided, hey, let's just take a little trip, go have a girls trip, and it'll be a blast. And of course, it was the best time ever, and I decided on that literal trip that I wanted to move to Florida. I had just graduated college. I hadn't really settled down in terms of a career or job up in Illinois. And on top of it all, if you guys have been around for a little bit, you probably know that for part of my life, I actually lived here in Sarasota, Florida. We moved back up north when I was like 6th grader, and I did all of middle school, all of high school, and my college up north. I graduated, and I just said, you know what, after this trip, it made me really reflect on my life and realize that it wasn't that I was unhappy, but I didn't feel like I was thriving, which is an annoying word, but I just didn't feel like I was getting the most out of life. I really hate the cold. I was like, this makes sense to me, but I was living with my parents at the time, and I was in a very serious relationship. And after taking the trip, I really started to think a ton about all of those things. So initially, after flying home, getting back to Illinois, I sat on that entire plane ride with my best friends, and I was like, I am going to end the relationship. And I just want to talk to you guys about all of this because I'm sure at least one person has experienced or is experiencing this right now, and not everyone's situation is the same, and I totally get that, but hopefully something that I went through can help you guys out in your process. I just want to be so real, so open, I just want to be completely transparent. And so I was sitting on that airplane, I was like, I need to break up with him. And as much as I cared and had love for him in my heart, I just couldn't get home and continue on in the relationship. That was like the number one thing that I knew, on top of really feeling strongly about wanting to move. I literally landed, he came over, and I broke things off. And it was probably one of, up until that point, the hardest things I had ever done, just knowing that he was completely blindsided, and it really, going into the trip, was not even on my radar. But sometimes it takes trips like that or experiences to make you realize, like, a wake-up call. I am not living my life fully fulfilled, and I can either settle or I can make a move and make a change and get out of my current situation. That was like the first kind of layer of this move. So once I cut things off with that, I was able to focus a lot more on talking to my parents, expressing to them how strongly I felt about wanting to move. Of course, I was an adult and could make a decision like that for myself, but I wasn't 100% like financially supporting myself, so I needed to talk with them about how I could make it work and what would be the best option. A friend of a friend needed a roommate, and it just so happened that he was going to be going to school in the literal town that I wanted to move to, and it all just randomly fell into place just based on me praying. I have a strong faith, and I just believed that if I prayed and just really asked God for the desires of my heart, which was to move and make a change and really take a leap of faith, that he would help it all to fall into place. And it wasn't by my doing. I was just going out of my way to kind of move things along, but ultimately I believe that he really just set things up to work more seamlessly, is how I feel. So I was able to find a roommate, and then I went on Indeed, and because I knew I wanted to ultimately start my own business within photo and video, I didn't really want to get locked into some like random career, because that really wasn't my path or my scene. I'm not a 9-to-5er. And so I just got on Indeed, started looking for jobs that were gonna be good pay, but not going to lock me into something that ultimately I didn't wanna end up doing. So I found a job at Aveda Salon. It was literally just doing front desk stuff. Again, like not my dream job by any means, but it got me down here. And so I was able to talk with the manager. She gave me the opportunity for an interview like 1 week after I was gonna move in. And mind you, this was literally all in like 30 days. So I don't know how it happened so fast. I know for some of you, it's probably a longer drawn out process. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a 9-to-5 really serious career that you're trying to get, you know, move from one location to the other. And I totally get that and respect that it is probably so difficult and much harder than a single, you know, not a mom, not in her career yet. But I just encourage you to pray, have faith, lean on the support of your friends and family. That's what I did. I was able to really just get super real and honest with a lot of my friends and my parents. Once the time came, I packed up my car. We had hired a like U-Haul mover to come a couple weeks later when my parents could actually take the time off to come. So I literally just drove across the country, and it was weird. Like looking back, even at my own vlogs, I don't remember being like nervous. It was much more of like an excited, really like hopeful, because I knew it was gonna be such a new season and journey that it was more the excitement factor versus like scared or fearful. I just really felt like it was my first time ever taking a stand like this on my own, being that independent, because being an only child, sometimes it can go either way, I know, and it's not a blanket statement, but you can kind of feel like your parents' focus, like that's all they care about, which is awesome. I really wanted to just do something for myself, and for once I felt like making a move like this was a great option. And so I made the move. Like I said, I will link that vlog in the description box down below. I remember just pulling in to Fort Myers to my new apartment. I had only ever seen it in photos, and I had never met my roommate. At that point, the feelings were really like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, I got my key, I pulled in and like opened the door, and it was just like so weird. I had this new town. I had no idea where anything was. I didn't know anyone other than my best friend Sam. And it, at that point, is when things started to get like not scary, but just so like lonely for a second. It was like I was so used to having, from 6th grade till I was 22, like I knew everyone in my town. It was a pretty small town in Illinois. I could call up my closest friends whenever I wanted and go grab dinner or lunch and just hang out. All of my aunts and uncles and cousins were from there. So it was an adjustment for sure. And I will not lie about that, because it was very much eye-opening once I did get there. Like, oh my gosh, like can't really turn back. If you guys have been on my channel, we have 2 dogs now, but at the time I only had one, Gatsby, the Pomeranian, and he was a little pup. I think maybe he was like 2 years or a year and a half, and I left him up north with my parents because while I knew in my heart that the move was gonna be permanent, I don't know that my parents like 100% bought into it yet. So I think that they thought like, she'll be back, or like, you know, maybe whatever. And so I guess the idea was like, don't make my pup come and move and go through such a huge move and transition if I was gonna turn around a couple months later and regret it and wanna move back. So my parents kept him. So that was hard, being away from him, because he was my dog. I got him right after graduation, and so it was a lot, like a big adjustment. I didn't have my interview till like a week later, but then I didn't even start working till weeks after that. So I had savings and I had money to live off of for the time being, but I was literally just going to the beach all the time and really just like taking in that true Florida lifestyle. And it's funny because once you live somewhere long enough, no matter where it is, it doesn't really feel like vacation anymore. You know, when I first moved here, I was like, oh, let's go to the beach every day and the pool and go shopping and these restaurants and try all these new spots. And now I'm just like, this is just my home. Once I kind of got acclimated and I went to the interview and started working, like life got real. You know, you have the time, you know, that you have to go to work and all the mundane things. It kind of starts to sink in, like, okay, like this is my life and I'm here. And so I ended up, just to give you more of my story, I kind of jumped into a relationship a little quicker than I should have. And I think like my first piece of advice in that respect is like, just do you. Like, don't try to get, I guess for me it was like I was trying to make my life like normal. So I had just come out of a relationship and moved to a brand new place, and I didn't even know anyone. I ended up meeting him through my roommate because they were in school together. I do kind of look back and I'm like, maybe if I would have just taken, you know, 6 months and really just worked on myself, worked on building my business and growing things, like things would have happened quicker versus putting it off and jumping into a relationship. You have that season, you know, when you first start dating someone where you're wanting to hang out all the time and go on dates and hang out with friends. And we did that and it was so fun. But I think looking back, it's like things could have been different. And I guess life, it just goes like that. Like you can do things so many different ways and have so many different outcomes. But my advice would be just like really get to know yourself. Get to know yourself being alone, away from your comfort zone. I was out of my comfort zone for sure. Now I love change a lot more than I used to. I guess once I got into that relationship though, it was a blessing in disguise because his sister became one of my very best friends. She's still one of my closest friends here. I got to go and be introduced to my church, the church that I started going to through them and their family. And ultimately, I met my now husband through that church. And so like, it's so cool how God works. He always works in the most mysterious of ways. I just look back at it and I was reflecting, I was looking at my channel the other day and I saw my Florida moving vlog and I was just like, wow, like that has been almost 5 years from then till now. I have grown and evolved so much. Like I look at the person in those videos and I'm just like, I was so young, like such a little baby, and I don't know, I felt like making a move like that can really make or break you. Like I went into that move being so strong-willed, I'm not coming home. People told me like, I'm sure you'll be back. My aunts told me like, oh, I bet like it'll be hard and we're always here for you if you want to come home. All of those words and like advice and whatever just fueled me to be like, I'm not coming home actually. I'm going to stay here and be content in my decision and make a life for myself. And I totally have. And the funniest part is a year later, my parents actually ended up moving to Florida as well, if you guys are new. So they moved down. And it's been just so cool having them close, but having just like our family in this new season of life in Florida. Once I met my husband, like our families just click so well together. It's just so cool how it all works. And I look back and I'm like, if I would have stayed in Illinois, could I have had a great life? Of course, because it's all about how you make it. It's our choice to be happy and have a positive attitude and outlook and really just build a life that we can be proud of and thankful for. When I think of like living here compared to there, I'm like, wow, I really am thriving. I feel so connected to my community and the people I've met through church and work and photo shoots, and just all of that is like more than I could have ever imagined looking back on. And that's my biggest piece of advice for you guys, is like, you can never look far enough down the road and be able to see how cool things are gonna turn out. You know, you can only see X amount of feet in front of you. When you truly trust, okay, I'm gonna make this decision because it feels right in my heart, I feel peace about it. Like I felt a peace probably bigger than any choice or decision I've ever made in my life. The peace that I felt about making this move and deciding like I'm gonna do it no matter what. And I can only attribute that to my faith in the Lord. I encourage you guys that if you have a choice that you wanna make specifically centered around a move, just go for it. Like the amount of comments that I've gotten on that Florida moving vlog, even to this day, comments are still coming in on that video about like, wow, that really encouraged me. How did you decide to do that? I've always wanted to move and make a move like that, but I don't know how. Just do it. I know it's not that simple, and I understand, like I said, from the beginning of this video till now, my story wasn't perfect and wasn't easy, and I did come up against so many difficulties. Adversity makes you stronger, and it really is not the destination, it's the journey. And like, these aren't just like stupid life quotes, like I guess they are for some people, but for me, it really is enjoying the journey, like enjoying the process of, you know, finding my apartment and making the move, driving. I still remember driving in the car and seeing the Florida, like welcome to Florida sign, and I was just like, I did it. Like I was so proud of myself, because up until that point, I had only like left for college, which was only like an hour and a half from where I grew up. So it was just like a cool moment for me. And when I look back at all of the ways that I've grown, not only in like my career and opportunities I've had, but just myself as a person, I've been able to realize that I am a great decision maker. And in the past, I relied heavily on my parents' opinion of me, and I relied heavily on like, okay, I'm gonna call my dad. I look up to my dad, I still do. I don't think that'll ever change, and I think he has such great wisdom and insight on things, but almost to a fault, I would rely on like, oh, I have to call my dad, or like, I'm gonna check with him and see what he thinks on this. In the moment, I thought it was just like, oh, that's my dad. Like, I'm just gonna ask his advice. But I started to realize once I made the move here, like, I don't need to call him. I am an adult and I make great decisions. And I was able to rest in that fact. Like, I didn't have to question myself or feel like I was gonna mess up or make a mistake. And even if I did make a mistake, that it was okay. The world wasn't gonna end, because I lived a lot of my life and I still struggle with just being a perfectionist. Like, I hate messing up, and I still feel like I'm growing in that area, because none of us are perfect. And it's like, no matter how much I can know that and know I literally can say out loud, I am not perfect, when I make mistakes, I beat myself up for it. And so making the move made me realize I probably was gonna mess up. I didn't know everything. I don't know everything, and it's okay. Like, I'm going to figure it out. And after I worked for Aveda, I worked for several other small businesses, and it built me up into working for doing social media I never thought I would do social media for an oral surgeon. It was cool. Like, I met so many cool people through that, connections I still talk to, people who still give me business and jobs for other things within photo and video. I would have never known that if I didn't just take the risk. Take the risk to apply for that job or to email that business owner and ask them how my services could help them. And so it's across the board, whether it's the work that I did, the people that I met, the people that I extended handshakes to meet and make friends with are some of my closest friends now here. So I just encourage you guys to be okay with not doing everything right, especially in making a move. It's messy. Like, life is messy. If you never go step forward and take that first step to make the call for a new job in the city that you want to move to, or if you never send in that application, there's so many steps that go into moving. So I'm not trying to make it sound easy, but it's like, if you never do it, you're going to stay put right where you are. And if you're okay with staying where you are, that's awesome. But if you feel that feeling inside of like, there's more, then go after it. I was just looking back thinking, my gosh, like, my life could be dramatically different right now if I just stayed there, settled into an engagement and marriage and whatever else, like, however that life in Illinois looked is drastically different from where I'm at now. And I am so happy that I just said, screw it. I literally don't care what people think. I don't care what people ask. The questions I got was like, wait, what? You don't even have a job? Like, you only have an interview? What do you mean you're going to live with a stranger? Yeah, I got all of those questions. I probably sound insane to you guys, but I didn't care. I decided, of all the times that I've cared what people thought, where has that gotten me? Literally nowhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. You stay put where you are. There's no growth. There's no forward motion. And so I decided with this move, like, I literally do not care what my family thinks. I mean, I cared, but I didn't let their opinions and the voices of my friends and family determine and dictate if I was gonna move or not. I just said it in my mind. I said it's gonna be successful no matter how it goes, and that's that. So yeah, this was probably a super long video, and there's so much more that is involved in all of this. And if you guys want a follow-up video to this, or you have some specific questions that kind of are on, like, pressing on the front of your mind as you're watching this, please leave them in the comment section down below, because I'm passionate about seeing people just make changes in their life in a positive way and live their life to the fullest. Because as many times as you hear, like, it's not a dress rehearsal and this is the real deal, your life is happening right before your eyes and you need to make the most of it now, it's true. And it's not just a saying that you read on a fortune cookie. Like, it's really the truth. And so that's my encouragement for you guys. I hope this video was interesting and insightful and gave you some encouragement today. If you want to see more, like I said, just give it a thumbs up and leave some comments in the comment section down below. And please, for today, tell me, if you don't have any questions about this video, leave a comment, the craziest thing you've ever done. It doesn't have to be a move. It could be a job change, relationship, like just a out of nowhere breakup. Leave me a comment telling me the craziest thing and change you've ever made in your life. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night, whatever it may be for you. I also encourage you guys right now, during all of this craziness about the coronavirus, I just wanted to make one quick comment. Cast all of your care and worries and anxiety on the Lord. He's gonna be your rock in this. Lord Jesus, who's so much greater and so much more powerful and above all of the current circumstances that we are facing today. So I just leave you with that. I will be praying. If you have any prayer requests, I would love to pray for you guys, because I know this is such a crazy time. And I wasn't gonna say anything, but I all of a sudden felt it like I should just mention and not just stick my head in the sand, because it's a lot and I feel it. We all feel it here in Florida. We obviously have cases going around, and I know probably wherever you live, you're dealing with it it as well. So I hope and pray that you and your family are safe, that you are not affected. And for those of you who are, I am so sorry. My thoughts are with you. My prayers are with you. And I hope that together we can all just stay strong and just stay in this and feel encouraged, because I know that we will and are going to get through this. So I love you guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.